What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. I'm once again joined by Tyler, and welcome to our first video in our Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order community series. It's quite a mouthful, but this is the first video in a series of videos covering this game, leading to the game releasing on November 15th on all consoles, pretty much, Xbox One, PS4, PC. We're very, very excited for this game. In a way, there's a lot of discussion to definitely talk about. There's some worries that this game has. There's some good things this game has. We're going to talk about all that kind of stuff on the channel. Let us know. These are community series videos. These are videos are meant for you guys. So let us know if there's anything you want us to cover in terms of Jedi Fallen Order. Let us know if there's things you want us to cover when the game actually comes out. We're going to be covering it. We'll have videos about it when the game actually releases. And in this video, I want to start off with talking a little bit about Darth Vader. Obviously, one of the biggest characters Star Wars has. One of the biggest characters, I think, or biggest villain in the history of cinema, really, or in the history of the world. I truly do believe that. And the question is, they have had opportunities to put Vader in things before. We saw him in Rogue One. We see him appearing on some of the animated TV shows. They have opportunities. We talked about the Obi-Wan show. Do we think that Vader could be in the Obi-Wan TV show for Disney+? And the question always kind of is like, well, do you take that opportunity? Do you put him in? Would it be too much? Would it be forcing him in? And things like that. So for Jedi Fallen Order, we've gotten trailers. We've seen a good amount of the game. We're starting to understand, what this game will be about. But we still are missing large chunks of it. And this game is going to be decently big. And we really don't know all that much story-wise. So the question we're posing today is, will Darth Vader be in this game? It's shortly after. I don't think they gave a year, but it's shortly after Revenge of the Sith. So it's in between 3 and 4. It's after the fall of the Jedi. We know that. That's why it's called Fallen Order. And you play as a kind of like an up-and-coming Jedi, right? So they have the opportunity. This is in Vader's prime time, right? Literally Darth Vader, not even Anakin. This is in Darth Vader's prime time. We saw them take the opportunity with Rogue One in the same time period. Whenever you have this kind of time period, same thing with the Obi-Wan show, that's why I asked that question, if it's in that in between 3 and 4 or 4 or 5, whatever, you saw the Force Unleashed games. Those games were propelled, I think, largely by Darth Vader being in them. He was a prominent role in them. You actually got to play as him in the beginning of the first game. He was a big reason why those games were so successful. Yeah, the second one was pretty bad overall, but he was a really big part of the overall game, and that kind of took place in that same time period. I know it's not not part of the official canon. That was before EA had the license and had all the rights to the Star Wars and games, but still. So Tyler, it is a prime opportunity for Vader to be in it, but do you think he will be in this game?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. Part of me feels like he would show up like at the end. I assume, just like with any new franchise, there's going to be more of these Jedi Fallen Order games. But I do believe, just because of the timeline, I just feel like it fits. I do believe that he will, I think he'll show up. I think it makes sense to have Darth Vader show up, only because if they do like an expansion DLC or some kind of story DLC, maybe he can show up one more time in that. I don't know. But eventually, really, if you think about it, guys, at some point this series, this Jedi Fallen Order, would have to end, or at least it would have to end with this character. Now, I'm not saying that it has to end with him fighting Darth Vader, and obviously he would die. I'm not saying that, but I feel like this character, eventually, again, you have to end him, unless they just end up canceling it at one point, that's always disappointing when you don't get like a true ending. But I feel like however they would do it, it would have to have Darth Vader as a part of it. Not necessarily as a final fight, but I do see you end up, I think that you would end up kind of like having a fight with Darth Vader in, if not the next game, the third game or something. I do think that makes sense to have that. And it's kind of like, why not, if you think about it? They had that in Star Wars Rebels, which takes place during the exact same time period. Ezra and his master Kanan, they both, Ezra didn't really, but they both fight Darth Vader. Ahsoka shows up, she fights Darth Vader. Again, it's the same time period. It's actually kind of interesting because I feel like Jedi Fallen Order is almost a game version with a completely different and probably worse story than Rebels, but it's just interesting. So if Vader can come after the Rebels characters, Ezra and Kanan and Ahsoka and those things, if he can be there for them and fight them and interrupt whatever they're trying to do, which had to do with helping the Rebels succeed, right, and taking down the Empire, which is the exact same thing as what this character is trying to do in Jedi Fallen Order. If he could show up for them, why can't Vader show up for this character in Jedi Fallen Order? If he doesn't, it would actually be dumb. Because it's like, okay, so are you saying that Ezra is more important than this character? Then why do I care about this character? I wouldn't, right? He's not as important as Ezra. So that's where it starts to get interesting, is when you start to think of stuff like that. So I do think, because of that kind of stuff, I think Vader would be in this game. I think it makes sense. I think that if Vader heard that there's still a Jedi, there's rumors that there's another Jedi out there trying to take down the Empire or hurt different Empire whatevers that will ultimately help the Rebels get a head to take a shot at taking out the Empire. I think Vader's going to come. He's going to show up, and he's going to try to eliminate that Jedi. That's what he was doing in that time period. That's why he was after Ezra and Kanan. So why wouldn't he be after this character? He would have to be, unless he was just incompetent. But they're not going to make Vader incompetent, and it's Vader. He is the, if you think of like iconic, how do I say this? Not roles, but like characters, like faces. For Marvel, it's Spider-Man. For DC, it's Batman, not Superman. Ironically, it's actually Batman and then Superman. Star Wars, some people would say R2-D2, and he is one, and Yoda, but the biggest of all, is Darth Vader. So there's no chance of R2-D2 being in this. I don't see it. Yoda, there's no way. Vader is all that you're left with. He's on the opposing side of the protagonist. Why wouldn't you have him show up? He could show up too late. Very similar, just like Rogue One, is all I'm kind of thinking. He's there. He shows off why he's a, he's a bad dude. He's a sweet freaking villain. And he's too late. And that's totally possible that's all that we get in Jedi Fallen Order. But that's okay, because again, it leads into, well, he'll likely be in the next game, the next, iteration of the story, probably more, and then more and more. So I just don't see them not having Darth Vader. He's too iconic. The time period fits. He's been after other Jedi in the exact same time period in what we already know to be canon. This is a canon story. So not having Vader, in my opinion, is a mistake. Just when looking at the story, it's just not as consistent. If Vader doesn't show up, it's just not as consistent. Now, I know that the Inquisitors are the main enemy of this game. Vader's not on the cover. I get that. But that doesn't mean that they're not getting their orders from the Empire or from Vader himself or whatever. I assume that either the main villain, the main Inquisitor in this game, is going to be defeated or fails or whatever. And it could be a Thanos moment where Vader's kind of like, well, I'll do it myself. And then into the next game, Vader might be that main villain that's constantly after this character. So he definitely should be in it. I think he absolutely will be in it. How much, I don't know. I don't think all that much, but I do think he will be in it. And no matter what, he'll absolutely be mentioned. But mentioning it and seeing it, two different things. Obviously I can't guarantee it, but I do have a very strong feeling that there's no way that they don't put in Darth Vader in Star Wars, especially when you have the chance to use him. And I guarantee you this too. If they were able to tell us, maybe they can, I don't know. I don't know if there's like a stat thing out. For Battlefront 2, the most used villain, I guarantee you, is Darth Vader. I can guarantee it. Just because everybody wants to play as Darth Vader. everybody wants to be Darth Vader. Everybody wants to see Darth Vader. He's just one of those characters. So if you have that opportunity, why wouldn't you take it? They're going to take it. They're not dumb. And it's EA. EA wants more money. EA wants money all the time. That's what EA wants. EA equals money. That's actually, money spelled backwards actually spells EA. I don't know if you guys knew that. Try it. But in the comment section, please try that. And in the next one, of course, you introduce Vader now. Then the next game sells even more because there's going to be people who maybe sat out on the first one, but now they're going to get the second one because Vader's on the cover. So now they're going to get it. But you might even pick up people that want to buy the first one when it's on sale. But so it's just like, trust me, it's all marketing. Vader's in the game. Vader's in the game because it's EA, okay? And that's really all you need to know. The shoe fits, it's EA, money spelled backwards is EA, and Vader's in the game.
I agree. I think, this is a time period, like Tyler said. I mean, this is and that's what I say in the beginning of the video. When you have the opportunity, and it's the tough thing with Obi-Wan. I think that's the toughest thing, is it does also make sense, or it does work with timelines to put him in that Obi-Wan show that, will be coming to Disney Plus eventually, like next year or the year after. That's the only scenario, actually, that I've even said in that video, I don't want him in that one. But other than that, especially with a game like this, especially with, the way they're trying to make this game, it's not necessarily like the most realistic lightsaber mechanics in the world, but obviously that is a main focus. They're trying to make the gameplay more realistic and more like making you feel like you actually are a Jedi, right? We've seen that. They're really trying to make the Force something very, very special. Kinda, in my opinion, it's kind of like a weaker Force Unleashed kind of thing. But they're trying and they're doing their own thing, and I respect that. That's totally cool. So you have the time period, you have a character and a kind of overall idea of what the game is going to be, where you want to be a strong character. The lightsaber is going to be important. The Force powers are going to be important. And again, this whenever you have the time to use Vader, to throw him in, and like Tyler said, just to show how amazing he is. And really, ever since 4, 5, and 6, that's kind of been always the approach to Vader, is like, he's so cool, he's the face of the franchise, he's one of the most recognizable characters, not even villains, in the entire world ever. But we kind of made him a little weak in 4, 5, 6, and that's just because of the time period and when they were recording. Even though I think in 5 and 6 he is pretty darn cool. But, you saw Rogue One. You see all the animated shows. Like, he's always really, really cool. He's a lot faster with his lightsaber usage, all that kind of stuff. Force Unleashed, he's a very cool character. In the beginning, obviously, right, he's like throwing Wookiees through trees and destroying. Like, he can just do some amazing Force power. So they're really trying to elevate just how powerful he was. I think that's what they were trying to even do with Episode 3 with Anakin, show that, he's very, very good. So this is another game. It's another opportunity to be able to show that again, and I don't see why you pass it up. And like Tyler said, I mean, yeah, EA wants you to buy their game. They want this game to sell. I've said in the past that I think we actually need to support this game whether or not the story is good. And I only say that because at least they're going down a path of single-player stories. Now, if they mess up and they do some form of skin microtransaction, then that's going to be a disaster. But for what it's worth now and for what the game is now, I think this is a game that we have to seriously look at supporting so we get more like that. And I think Vader will help. I think that if you get people that play it and the initial response is, hey, this game's pretty darn decent. Like, there's not forced microtransactions. There's not this and that. This game is very, very solid. And then you start seeing the YouTube videos of, like, like Darth Vader battle, or Darth Vader is in, Jedi Fallen Order. Whatever, those catchy YouTube videos that people that have the hundreds of thousands of subscribers put, and they get a couple million views. That kind of stuff where Vader's in the game. That's gonna get people to be like, wow, I didn't know. They didn't say anything that Vader was in this game. Now I need to get this. And I really do think that's a thing. I think people would buy this game if they just knew that Darth Vader was going to have a role in it. Now, will he have a big role in it? I really don't think so. I think it'll be very, very small. Could just be at the end of the game. But I do agree. I mean, I think the plan for this game is to get sequels, and we'll talk about that, and we'll see how the game ends, and I'm sure we'll make videos talking about the future as well. But I can see it leading more into we give Vader a bigger role. You say what you want. I mean, the new trilogy is definitely pushing them away. Galaxy's Edge, all this stuff, really pushing away the old stuff, really pushing away Darth Vader in general, which I've never understood because I don't know why you would try and push that character away for Kylo. I get Kylo's newer, but Vader really can stand the test of time forever. I think we're going to start to see that in this game. If there's future games made, we'll see it in those. And if there's just games in general, if they could just, make other developers or have other developers make video games in the Star Wars universe, I think we'd see Vader a whole lot more often. So guys, let us know in the comments below, do you think Darth Vader will appear in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Again, anything else you want us to talk about in the comments below for these future community series videos. They air every single week on this channel leading in to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order releasing. Like I said, we're going to have tons of videos when the game is actually out. We're very excited to continue this community series. We hope you guys are liking this, and we've already started our other community series as well. Death Stranding, Star Wars Episode 9, Mandalorian. We got lots of stuff going on the channel. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you all on the next video.